Suppose anybody who does not have any of these activities or maybe it's what they have to tell you, it's wrong. Look at the chair. So the person will automatically remember this jail. Go to jail because you're receiving time. In your place, can I contest the election for party A? And when I will go to party B, he said, no, you can see. We have proportional representation. So the percentage won in the election was the percentage of people you have in the parliament. And nobody can forget. But if you move from here to here, you lose your seat. For that seat, for that party, you can only change your party during election. After election. So these are the fact that I go to them. If I don't want to contend now, then because waste of time. I now want to go to comparable countries. They happen to be biggest country in terms of Muslim population. So we're not talking to all the people all Muslims. After 1 week, and I traveled with only Muslims. After 1 week, I said, why did you see a man? Because they are 280 million. Why? Everybody's in production. Everybody's working. Everybody's happy. You can't create mass poverty. You don't have a certificate. You don't have. So that's why. If you go to South Africa today, there's a strong opposition. Using 10 workers. Why? Because they have proportional representation. So if you look at 2021 election, you will see the number of 2019 elections. You will see the number of votes. It seems like it's something percent in the parliament. Something percent. Last year, the election last year, 40%. There are 400 member House of Rep. Or now, they have 160 members. If you're doing it here in Nigeria, that's the question I'm telling you. You're doing it here in Nigeria. Present government even they did the form the life. They have 8% of the vote cast. First is that the election would have been cast in the first place. Under the regulation that is even followed by United Nations, if 30% of those who registered cast their vote, should repeat the election. We had 15 elections last year, from Mexico to Indonesia to South Africa. None of them is less than 60%. Ours was 25%. And that 25%, we will have that 8%. Every other place you go, including Indonesia, you have to have 50 plus 1%. They didn't have that. They had that 8%. There was no representation. Only that they have 40%. They got senators 100. And around 40 senators. PDP had something percent. Because there's a 3, they would have had that's 3 senators. We had 26%. We would have had 26 senators. I would have been there, the people would have been there living in country. But after election, whoever contested the election because the leaders of the next election. So who would have been there? You could imagine what it is. PDP has that 3 senators today, now to 3 senators. That is already 9 senators. Now, people who don't want government, you have a safety. But one, nobody can even, they can't even buy anybody. Because nobody can live and join them. So I wanted to tell you, there's no opposition in Nigeria. Nobody pays the opposition. Nobody does anything. All these things seem running around every day. It's my little hard money that I'm using to feed my family. That I'm using to buy from pillar to post. It doesn't make sense. The president UK foreign secretary of the opposition first and we're talking about going somewhere. I said I will go. I went out the budget. I said I will go. Somewhere is very expensive. So everywhere is out. Everywhere I go. It is not government very great because they don't know. It's not government paying for me. It's me. They even make it impossible. People to even greet you on the road. That's the biggest problem I face today. People who know you don't even greet you. Nobody, no Nigerian gives opposition, even donation. If you go out today to raise money, nobody gives you. Even people you want to see, he knows that we plan to go, we have to plan to go to schools owned by government. They invited us that morning, they arrived, they said they cannot enter. They said we can't enter for no reason. And I've traveled from here to the place. So you have all this, just because so it's very critical to understand the law. What do you have to do? This is just to after I thank you for such a your time. I know the pain I go through. Everyone, people complaining, talking to you as if, oh, you have government money. You didn't want to give them. Why would they be working for you? Why would they be? I thank you. What are we supposed to do? Because just ensure and just send normal Nigerian policy of calling me, wasting everybody's time. And first say, keep telling them this is the right way to do. This is the right thing to do. And I interview for Sunday. Everything I said from beginning to end, I didn't call anybody. Then you bring somebody who says, oh, he worked for a budget. I said, I work for a budget. That's going to see me. Oh, you are telling those who failed. And I said, I even need the experience of failure to move ahead. One of the greatest things that happened to him, I had a man who has worked in 9 failures. Because you will even know what makes it fail. It's critical. So they can tell you why they fail. There's nothing wrong. We want to talk about the future. People want to dwell in the past. Even when the question is that I said, things that are working well. Even the person who was in listen, Peter said the president did not go to Mopa, where 200 people died and 600 is missing, presumed dead. He did not go there. That is Niger State. And you travel to St. Lucia. By size of land, St. Lucia is 617 square kilometers. Mina, capital of Niger, this is the Niger. Mina, capital of Niger, 6,830 square. So the capital of Mina is 10 times bigger than St. Lucia. So how can you spend 7 days here and you're not going through 1 day to Mina? Just 1 day, you're not asking to sleep. But you went to that and spent for 7 days. Where is the compassion of the people? Where is the care for people? In terms of population, St. Lucia is already 80,000 persons. Ajegule is 500. St. Lucia is 1/3 of Ajegule. I'm sure that if it goes to Ajegule, it will spend 2 hours. But they spent 7 days. And when I criticized it, they said, oh, yeah, we have ancestral relationships. We're looking for people who have ancestral. Let's deal with the people who are here all the time. When we are now okay, then we go and start looking for people who have relationships. So this is the crisis. So I'm reading with you know, Prof knows, most of you are mainly someone of us who are in the field. The most critical, measurable indices of development remains education, health, and pulling people out of poverty. It is not the person. You need to have say, this is what we're talking about. This is what we want to do. This government said, remove subsidy. Because the bigger change you're bringing is that you're trying to say to people, we can do this without being paid. Can do this without any. Can do this without it. Once Nigerian decide to participate without being paid on transaction, so thank you once more for the secretary. Thank you for everything. I'm sure we have time, longer time, and luckily have my younger brother who is inside. That's the one sharing everything. Do you remember the phone
Mr. Ruby for
Are we doing our presentation this evening or tomorrow?
well, let's listen to, I guess. Then we will take I think we can take our presentation.
After.
We'll break out the about that. We are particularly fortunate to have this guest. Not only has it been on both executive and legislative sides, it has been in both houses on the legislative side. And he brings a perspective of a smuggler also. I can't give you the greatest smugglers.
Bro, that's my wallet hat.
But he's a man who has shown a lot of courage doing things to get ball move forward. And so we're fortunate to have him. Let me invite you to come over to say some words to us. You're welcome.
Thank you, Prof. Well, thank you very much, Prof, for the instructions to be here. On Saturday, while in Kano, I received a call from Prof. This is taking place today, and I needed to be here. The glory of God, I'm here, and I'm indeed very glad to be with you. I must join my other brother, commending you for organizing this in the interest of our country. Yes, Prof, in your opening remarks, my task is to talk to you from a perspective of an opposition politician that is in the 10th National Assembly. But let me hasten to say that I first got to the National Assembly in 2003 as an opposition member of parliament on the platform of ANPP. And from being deputy chairperson of Growth and Business Committee, after a very successful parliamentary coup, I became the minority leader. It will also interest you to know that in and out, I have contested and won 6 mandates back to back.
Wow.
And all of this not in the same political party. And also 3 in the ruling party, 3
Opposition.
in opposition. So I have a balanced experience to share with you. 2003, 2007. What happened? What made that assembly, the 5th assembly, distinct in nature? Yes, there was executive influence in the emergence of the leadership of the House of Representatives. A number of parliamentarians wanted Usman Bugaji to be the speaker. But the government of the day, under President Obasanjo, threw their weight behind Speaker Aminu Bello Masari, and he emerged. But that house had its own character, possibly driven from the previous house led by Ghani Umar of blessed memory. A number of those parliamentarians successfully returned for their second time, including Masari himself. And it was molded, the previous house was molded in such a way that it was more of an independent, even though being run by majority members of the PDP and the speaker who was PDP. Ghani Umar was able to really navigate and ensure that there was relative independence of that institution. So coming from that experience, Masari came with it, and a number of those who came along with him from that assembly to the Fifth Assembly had similar experience. So the debates were usually very robust, and opposition was not stifled, and we were allowed to exercise our freedom of saying and expressing our views from the floor of the House of Representatives. Of course, most of the times the majority had their way, but it was relatively democratic. And that was how we effected a coup in the minority caucus, and it was recognized by the leadership. So, that's what House order Madam Ete through to Kabankule was a different ball game. President Moore was everybody here, I'm sure, believed that he was a true Democrat. He didn't directly get involved in the matters of people. President Obasanjo required the process that ensured that Madam Ete became the speaker. And of course, President Mark emerged as Senate President on the other hand in the Senate. As we go along, members of the House there were some movements. Madam Ete lost her as Speaker, Speaker emerged. Now, that House also faced its own challenge of not. I mean, I forgot to mention that the men clear independence, respected democratic and Kenny Ramani's Fifth National Assembly on the way the third term of President Obasanjo failed. Kenny Ramani, PDP, the Kamini Democratic PDP, but of course, the National Assembly went with the opinion of Nigeria, and of course, clearly, the third term. So that's how we were able to establish that independence, just as the Gajaba House of Representatives. Now, hopefully came in, and there was this idea of presidency for Vice President Jonathan, where one of the aides of the president disappeared with the minister of transmitting power to the Vice President. And then, of course, the issue of